In this activity, what we're trying to do is we're given a whole bunch of lines on the page, and what we want to do is find the equations for each of these lines. And there's two things you have to find to get an equation for a line. One is the slope, and the other is what's called the y-intercept. So we're going to focus on each of those two things individually because they're the two things we need to write an equation in this form. Y equals, this is the slope times x plus whatever the y-intercept is, or minus, it can be a minus 2. So we need slope and y-intercept. Those are the two things, or two parts of that equation that we have to find when we're looking at any particular line. So if I look at line number 1, and I want to find the slope of that line, I need to actually find 2 points on that line, any 2 points. So I can take from here to here, or from here to here, or from here, anywhere it crosses the grid on this will help me to find the slope. And so sometimes I just want to find a place where it's clear of all the other lines so that it's easy to see. So what I'm looking for in a slope is how much does it go up versus going over. So we call this the rise, and this the run. And so in this case, the rise, it goes up 3, and the run, it goes over 1. And so we say that the slope is the rise over the run. It's a ratio, a fraction of the how much it goes up versus how much it goes over. In this case, the rise is 3 and the run is 1. And you could do that anywhere along here. There's a whole bunch of places. And you can see that it does it over and over and over again. It's part of what makes it a line. It's consistent. It goes up 3 and then over 1 and then up 3 over 1. So the rise over the run, the stair steps in a sense, the slope of this line is it increases by 3 every time it goes over by 1. So the y increases by 3. Sometimes we call this the change in y compared to the change in x. So the change in x is 1, the change in y is 3. So the rise over the run. So we'd say the slope of this line is 3. Just simplify it. 3 divided by 1 is 3. And so that's the number we're after for the slope on this one. So I would write that in here where the m part is slope is 3. So we find the slope. And then the next thing we want is what's called the y-intercept. And that's the place where this line crosses the y-axis. There's actually a point here, 0, 3. So this is a point called the y-intercept. This being the y-axis, the y-line. It's basically a number line that goes up and down. A grid is made up of two number lines, an x number line, which is the horizontal number line, and y being the vertical number line. So we actually are working in 2 dimensions here. And that's the idea, is that we can work in not just single direction, but 2 directions. And we have a coordinate, 0, 3, 0, 3, x is 0, y is 3. This is an x, and this is a y coordinate that's on this line. There's a whole bunch of other coordinates on this line, like 1 and 6. And this one here, that's 2 and 9. So these are all just different coordinates, but this one in particular is very helpful when it comes to writing an equation because it actually gives us a starting point for this line in either direction. So that y-intercept gives us a number, this one right here, the y-coordinate of the y-intercept is the y-intercept number. So if I now look at this equation, the y-intercept is 3, and the equation then would be the slope times x, so the slope is 3, x, and then plus the y-intercept. And what that tells me is I could pick any point on here and say 3 times the x value, like 3 times 2 is 6, plus 3 equals 9, equals the y value. Or 3 times 1 is 3 plus 3 equals 6. So anywhere on this line now, I can find the points with this equation. So let's look at another one on here and go to number 2. So number 2, I want to find a slope. So find 2 points that are crossing somewhere and go up 1 over 2. So the rise is 1 and the run is 2. So we actually have a fractional point. Sometimes we say it's 0.5 or 1/2. So there's our slope. So this one has a slope of 1/2 and it crosses at 0, 6. So the 6 is the number we want. This is the y-intercept. And so the equation for that line would be, there's the y-intercept of 0.5, and, sorry, the slope of 0.5 and the y-intercept of 6. I need this number. And so the equation is y is 0.5 or 1/2 x plus 6. And I could use that equation to find any point on this line. I could go over to this point here, and that's 4, 8. 8 is a point on that line. And I would know that because I could say 1/2 of 4 is 2 plus 6 is 8. So it gives me the value of any point in this line. Now I want to do one more line. I want to do number 6, because number 6, if you look at the slope on number 6, I'm going to actually start here and realize that I'm going to go down 3. So I'm going to put a minus 3 because it's actually going down, and over 1. So my slope is actually a negative 3 over 1. So it's really not a rise, it's a fall. But that still gives me a negative 3 divided by 1 is negative 3. So there's my slope for this line. It's going down 3 over 1. You can see that does it over and over. It goes down 3 over 1. So it's kind of opposite of the first line we had. And then it crosses the y-axis right here at negative 1. So there's my y-intercept. So and the two things I need are the slope and the y-intercept. So if I have a slope of negative 3, so that's my m, and my b is the negative 1. So I have a negative slope, so y equals negative 3 times x, and then plus a negative 1, or you can just put minus 1, because that represents the y-intercept. So slope, negative 3, y-intercept of negative 1, equation is negative 3x minus 1. So the two things you always need are the slope, the rise over the run, and the y-intercept, which is the place where the line crosses the y-axis. It's the y value of where it crosses the y-axis. And that's how you find equations for lines if all you have is a line.